Hello ladies and gentlemen, this is Blue Maxima, and I'm here checking out some PlayStation 4 games being played over PlayStation Vita Remote Play. Today we're taking a look at Dynasty Warriors 8 Empires. So, unfortunately, this really isn't a fantastic remote play game, which is kind of surprising to me, to be honest, because not only are there Vita versions of these games, of the Dynasty Warriors games just in general, for some reason, and even on remote play for Dynasty Warriors 8 Dynasty Warriors 8 Extreme Legends Complete Edition at the very least, because I have played that, the remote play actually worked pretty well, and they actually made some changes to, you know, bring it up to par. But for some reason, I'm just going to leave everything as default and start the battle so this video is as short as possible. For some reason, they didn't do that with the PlayStation 4 version of Empires. Now, the idea is all your basic controls work the same way, except it's the rear touchpad. For some reason, they didn't actually adapt any of the controls to the rear touchpad where they might actually be of some use. So, you have to press L2 if you want to call your horse. You don't have to do that very much, so it's not that big of a deal. You also have to press R2 to use your stratagems, which is actually quite important, because it can be quite a pain in the ass to have to tap back there and use the D-pad in order to activate the stratagem, because it just means you have to move a bunch of different fingers. You might as well just stand still while you're doing it. I mean, the touchpad isn't really used for much. It's just used for bringing up menus and shit, so I don't know why they couldn't have changed the control scheme, have the start button be the thing that brings up the menus, and then just have the touchpad be like touch sensitive for all the stratagems, because I know PlayStation 4 games are capable of this, because I've played, Call of Duty Ghosts and The Crew, which actually had, like, some really good touch controls, and I really do need to do videos on those games. I must apologize. I'll get around to them, I promise. Those are actually some really good examples of remote play. But it's just not done here, and it just becomes a pain in the ass to do anything requiring a stratagem. Also, once you have a full rage meter, you need to use the L3 and R3 to activate them, which is holding those two down there, and it can be kind of hard to do when you're in a pinch. But I mean, changing weapons is on R1 and block on L1 still works just fine, so though it isn't that big of a deal, it's just relatively uncomfortable to do any sort of advanced strategy on this thing. I'm just a little bit surprised, though. I'm playing the PlayStation 4 version of Empires, as I said before, obviously. And it's just weird, because the PlayStation 4 version of Dynasty Warriors 8 Extreme Legends actually looks a ton better than this for some reason. I don't understand why this version looks like the PlayStation 3 version, but with better textures and more enemies. I'm not entirely sure why that is. I mean, the PlayStation 4 version of Dynasty Warriors was an absolute joy to play on remote play, because everything was so soft and smooth and silky, and good lord was it nice. But this is just strangely average, and it feels like they could have made a Vita port of this, like, without lifting a finger. But anyway, I'm going to spend like 15 more minutes on this battle if I don't quit right now. So, that was just a quick look at Dynasty Warriors 8 Empires. It works, but it's a little bit painful. Unfortunately, there's no real control set. You can actually change your controls here, but basically there's nothing here that you can change. Like, you can't change stratagems to be on the start button. You can't change call horse to, like, be on the front touchscreen or anything. You can't change anything that'll really make the experience better. So, just overall, it's not that great of a remote play. It's still playable, but, you know, I'd rather be playing on a PlayStation 4 controller because I have better access to everything I need. This has been Blue Maxima, and I'll see you all next time.